My brother, you got to prove to yourself that you are him. You got to prove to yourself that you are that guy. You got to prove to yourself that you are him, my sister. You got to prove to yourself that you are her. You got to prove to yourself that you is that girl, that young lady, that woman, that queen. You got to prove to yourself that you are her. Now, my friend, if you think that this has anything to do with building your ego, if you think this has anything to do with feeding your ego, if you think this has anything to do with feeding that macho man Randy Savage mentality, if you think that this has anything to do with being cocky or arrogant, then this is not the video for you. I encourage you to log off, or watch another video that may resonate with you. But this right here, it's not about that at all. When I say you gotta be him, you gotta prove that you're him. When I say that you gotta be her, my sister, my queen, you gotta prove to yourself that you're her. This has everything to do with building self-confidence. This has everything to do with putting yourself in a position to where you're unstoppable. Nobody's opinion can have anything to do with what it is that you are in pursuit mode of. Nobody can stop you when it comes to you taking flight, being in pursuit, soaring, rising, reaching for greatness, man. Being in your path, being in your lane, traveling your path to purpose, being on your journey, bro. This is everything about that. And I realized that this is not something that you get every day. This is something that sometimes is taught over time. Some people get it sooner than later when it comes to, being confident within themselves, developing confidence over time. Even if you're a naturally confident individual, if you start something new, if you start a YouTube channel, you could be a confident person, but if you've never done it before, it could definitely make you feel less confident because you operate outside of your natural self. As easy as it may seem to just turn on the camera and go, if you never tried it before, try it. I'm not saying that you can't do it. Some people, can pick it up sooner than later. Some people can actually turn the camera on and it doesn't affect them in any way. They can just keep doing what they do. Me personally, it took me some time to get comfortable behind the camera. It took me a while to be the same person that could have a regular conversation with you. It took for me to, me as that individual, as soon as I turn the camera on, oh my gosh, I'm tripping up over my words. It's like the lights, as soon as like turning that light on, bro, turning this camera on. Before, it was almost like, you ever like watch boxing and guys that fought like in those main events, those high prize fights, they face guys that may be experienced fighters who have been in that ring, but it's a whole different beast when the bright lights is on you. It's a whole different beast, man. It take you out your element if you're not accustomed to the bright lights, So literally having this ring light on now doesn't faze me. But it took a lot of videos. It took a lot of being uncomfortable to grow to a point of now being comfortable with having this light on me, with having this camera in front of me. It took a lot of videos. Oftentimes I wanted to quit because I was like, man, this is just too much pressure on me, man. Too much pressure on me, having this camera in front of me was just too much pressure on me, but I was like, nah, man, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. We got to keep doing this because we have a vision. We have things that we want to, accomplish in life. We have messages that we need to put out there. We have success that we want to obtain on this channel. We just want to be repositioned. We want to project this content, on a higher, grander scale as we continue to keep pushing out these videos, and that's not going to happen if I don't sit myself down and get used to it. So over a period of time, man, I had to develop confidence, even though I was already a confident individual, over the course of the years. But this right here definitely shook my confidence because it was doing something that, I wasn't accustomed to doing. I wasn't used to doing. Even now, going outside, going to the park, stuff like that, it used to trip me up. But now, it's natural for me now. Meaning it was already natural for me to speak and do what I do. That's why I do what I do. But it was unnatural for me to do it in front of a camera with a big bright light shining on my forehead, making me sweat. You know what I mean? But it took some time, man, for me to develop confidence. So, you know, even like I said, even if you're already a naturally confident individual, sometimes you could be challenged in certain environments that you're not accustomed to being in those environments. Life experiences and being in many different environments taught me that no matter how accustomed you are or confident you are in this particular department, this environment, you may be good at science, you may be good in the English department, you may be good at reading, but then math, as soon as you get in that math class, you fold. As soon as you get in that math class, you climb up. Or as soon as you have to, you know, do a presentation and stand in front of the class, I know a lot of y'all can relate to that. As soon as you have to, you know, do that presentation, man, you tossing and turning the night before, having a hard time getting your rest, your sleep. I know y'all know what I'm talking about, because you have to do that uncomfortable thing. So even though you may be a confident individual, sometimes when we're in different environments, you know, our confidence can be something that we have to grow and develop. But you are him, bro. Like, you know, I want you to be the best version of yourself in life, bro. You know, I want you to be the best version of yourself in life, man. And you can't do that unless you're challenging yourself as often and as much as possible. You have to challenge yourself as often and as much as possible. You can never get too complacent, never get too comfortable, man. You have to do everything in your power, because once you achieve greatness, bro, once you achieve greatness, you're going to have to know how to operate on so many different levels. That's the reason why you have to develop confidence within yourself, you know. So when you enter those arenas that you dream of, you know, if you want to be a rapper or a singer, you know, right now you're comfortable doing it in your shower. You know, right now you're comfortable singing only around your peers. But you envision yourself one day being on a grand stage with the big lights on you, because you know you're talented. You know you're talented, but you may be shy. You may be confident at your ability, your gift to be able to do this, but when it comes to doing it in that environment, you know, we have to build their confidence, you know. But I want to remind you that you are him, bro. Do it all. Whether you're singing in the shower, you know, whether you're writing that book with the idea of one day presenting it on film, one day actually creating a film around it, bro, you're him. You can do it. You got this. You know, you're him, bro. If you guys hear any noise in the background, that is, like, I'm close to the door. Hopefully one day, man, we can grow to a point where we have like more privacy, because literally, man, these walls are paper thin. So I apologize if you guys are picking up what it is that is also a distraction to me, but we must keep going. But my friends, you got to train yourself, man. You got to show yourself that you're that person. And how do we do that? We got to do the work. We must keep doing the work every single day. We got to do the work, man. That's how you build your confidence. That's how you build your confidence. You got to do the work. You know, nobody's going to give it to you. And that's the reality. That's the harsh reality. We want to see success in our life, but many of us fall short in doing the work and putting in the work, doing the labor, putting in the leg work, you know, putting down one brick at a time, day in and day out. You know, you don't get better by just dreaming of it. You don't get better by just doing it every now and then. You may see some progress, some small progress, but you're really not going to hit strides until you put in the work every single day. When you're grinding every single day. Again, I wanted to do YouTube, bro, just a year ago. This was hard for me to do. You know, I did it anyway. You guys may not have known that. You know, I may have mastered it, you know, in so many ways. You know, of course, I was doing something completely different with YouTube. But when it came to just doing these sit-down videos, oh my gosh, it was nerve-wracking. And I'm like, it's never nerve-wracking when I'm just talking to a random person, a regular person, but why is it nerve-wracking when I turn on the camera? So I realized that was an obstacle that I had to achieve and overcome, so that I can, you know, put myself in a position to where it's now natural, and we can keep treading, bro. We can keep trucking. We can grow success over a period of time. This is now easier for me. But I had to sit myself down and keep doing it over and over and over, take after take, day after day. You know what I mean? Video after video. I had to keep doing it, bro, to where I got better. I improved. My videos was getting better. My ideas was getting better. You know, my confidence was getting better. You know, but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't do the work. It wouldn't have happened if I did not sit myself down. It wouldn't have happened if I didn't still record with the camera in front of me, with the light in front of me, going outdoors. You know, I know what it takes. And I'm sharing it with you guys. What it takes is doing the work every day. That's how you learn how to become him. That's how you know, no matter what person around you may say different, no matter what energy around you may say different, no matter who around you may say different. When you put in that work every single day, you building that confidence. Like I said, this is not about ego. This is not an egotistical type of ordeal. This is not about that, bro. If you're that type of person who's cocky and arrogant, this is not that, bro. This is about remaining humble, operating in humility, staying grounded through our rise, through our success. At every level of how we grow, we stay grounded, bro. This is just about being sure of who you are. This is about developing that sureness, that reassuredness within yourself that you are God's son. You are God's daughter. You're a king on this earth. You're a king on this earth. This is your land, bro. This is your harvest. You're a queen on this earth, young lady. And you got to know it, man. You got to walk in it and you got to know it. But one of the best way that you could do it is to challenge yourself, man. The areas that you want to improve in, bro, challenge yourself and do it even different, Do it different. Like, do the work, do it, but then put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Like, doing this in general was uncomfortable. Even doing it alone by myself with nobody here was uncomfortable. But I grew to a point where I could do this by myself. But then don't stop there. Let's take it outdoors, man. Let's vlog outdoors. Let's go when we travel. Let's have the camera on, bro. Let's vlog. No matter who's around, Let's take it to the park, bro. Let's vlog. Let's lock in. Let's not worry about what nobody else is thinking, Let's not worry about none of that, man. Let's just lock in and let's vlog, bro. Let's work. Challenge yourself in every area. Don't just become strong in this particular area. Challenge yourself in as many areas that you know that you can grow in, bro. Challenge yourself in every way possible. It's like going to the gym. Don't just go to the gym and just work upper body. You got legs, man. God didn't just give you a torso on up. He didn't just give you arms. He didn't just give you international chest days every day. He gave you legs too. Let's not neglect our legs, fellas. I say that because the ladies got it on lock when it come to leg day. We already know ladies got it locked, but ladies, let's not neglect our upper body, bro. You're not going to have a manly physique if you work on your arms, bro. Just don't take no extra stuff and you good, man. Let's work on all areas of our life of growth, bro. Not just where it's comfortable, not just when it's convenient, not just where it's convenient, not just in your safe space. Okay, it's okay to do things in your safe space, but also do things outside of your safe space. That's how you really, really grow. That's how you start adding tools to your tool belt, bro. That's how you know how to operate in all arenas. That's how when you get to that point where you see that grand stage, you're going to be ready for it because you challenge yourself, bro, because you're doing the work every single day. You are him, my brother. You got to prove that to yourself and not to other people. Work on proving to yourself that you're him. Everybody else will see it. You feel me? Be the example. That's all you got to do, bro. You ain't got to overthink it. Just be the example. Work on being the example of proving to yourself that you're that person without boasting or none of that. Just do the work every day. But it's important to understand the fine line between being an arrogant individual and a confident person, bro. A lot of people, man, they come from the mud and they start obtaining success and then they forget where they came from. They forget where they came from because as confidence started to develop along the way, they started getting riches. They started, being able to experience other things in their life, get things, tangible things in their life, live different, live lavish lifestyles, and got lost in it, bro. Lord, I pray that that's never me. I pray that you keep me grounded, and I don't have no doubt about it because, I have enough life experience. I have enough life experience to understand what humility is. I'm so grateful for every day that I get, bro. I know what it's like to actually be here, bro, to be blessed and be grateful to be here and live my life, and not be moving like I used to move, not be dumb in my course of action, in my daily walk before. So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to take advantage of the right now moments, man, and make better use of my right now moments, man. Building the version of myself that I need to be, a confident version of myself, and we getting better all the time, every day. I'm vlogging it with y'all, man. I'm sharing it with y'all, and I'm sharing it with y'all. You feel me? I'm sharing the words with y'all. I'm sharing the encouragement with y'all. I'm hoping that the positive takeaways and the positive energy that is produced within me, I'm hoping that it's channeling through you guys as well. I'm hoping that you guys are getting it as well, man. But we got to learn, bro. We have talents. We have gifts. We have positions that God wants us to be in. So, the best way to really, really be able to take advantage of that, man, is to be able to operate, man, at our highest self. You know, we have to be able to operate at our highest self. We got to put the work in every single day, you know, and we have to be confident, bro. You can't do it without confidence, bro. I mean, let me take that back. You can get better over a period of time, but at some point you have to be a confident person, bro. You have to be confident at everything that you do at some point in your life. You have to grow to the point, and the goal is to grow to the point of being a confident person in all of your endeavors, your life endeavors. You know, so again, it doesn't require for you to be perfect or to be confident at first. I'm just saying, do the work every single day over a period of time, bro. The more bricks you lay, confidence will grow. And the more confident that you are in your walk, the more that it exudes, bro. People around you can see it. You're not doing it for them, but for the most part, people can see when you're confident. People can see when you're not confident, bro. You know, people can see when you're not confident. And I just personally feel like, you know, you can get more that you want out of life when it comes to whatever it is that you're doing, bro. When you're operating as a confident person, you can catch more flies with honey. When you're operating as a confident person, you can catch more flies with honey, bro. Of course, you can catch flies by having food laying around your house, by having your trash bag laying out, you know, uncovered. You can catch flies, you know, close the lid. But you can catch more flies with honey, bro. Meaning you can obtain more success with confidence. You can obtain more success, you can achieve more when you're walking in your confidence, when you know that you are him. And that's not something that could easily be obtained just from starting something. You have to work on that confidence, bro. You have to build yourself every single day. Work on that inner strength every single day. Build that confidence every single day. But trust and believe, regardless of where you at on your journey, bro. Regardless of where you at in your journey, you are him. You're already him. You already got it, man. God already gave it to you. You know, you just got to find it, man. You got to dig within. You got to find that gem within. And you got to nurture it, bro. You got to nurture that gem every single day. You got to water that plant within every single day. You got to grow that confidence every single day. You got to water it. Where's my water at? I can't find it. But yeah, man, you know, don't let nobody, and that's another thing too, is why it's important to be confident is because the world will try to treat you less than. The world will tell you that you're less than. You know, I got a video that I'm gonna do that's touching on this in a future video, probably like 2 videos down the road. I got a list of the videos that I want to do, but we're coming up on it. You got to stay tuned, bro. You got to stay plugged in. You got to have your post notification bells on. That way you will see it. We're going to touch on that, bro. We're going to touch on that. We're going to delve into that. I'm not going to, you know, talk too much about that in this video. You know, but you got to pour into yourself, bro. You got to work on yourself. You got to nurture yourself. You got to build that self-confidence. The world will try to tear you down, bro. The world will try to tear you down. The world will try to break you down. The world will try to beat your confidence down so that they can impose their will on you. But when you're confident, they are afraid. When you're confident, they are afraid, bro. It's like the enemy's kryptonite is your confidence. You know? They'll leave you alone, bro. They like, man, that's that. You know, let him do him. You know, trust me, I know all about that. You know, but when you're confident, you know the enemy has no choice but to back off because he can only attack you here. He can only attack you here. You know what I mean? He can only get you if you feel like mentally he got you. But when you're confident, he ain't really got much room to work with. You know, so you got to work on yourself day in and day out. You got to build that confidence. You got to know that you are him by working every single day. By working on you, being the best version of yourself, working on your confidence, working on your skills, working on your dreams, working on your vision, being in pursuit mode, being calculated about it, bro, being intentional about it, you know, being intentional about it. I turn all the lights off so that I can get into my zone right now, you know, I have this right here up. You feel me? Live your dreams, you know, shining bright on y'all, glowing for a reason, man, because I want y'all to live your dreams just like I'm here living my dreams. You know, I'm encouraging you guys to live your dreams, man, just being creative. The throwbacks, man, anybody who watched my videos before remember Strength Squad, you know, back when this is the same channel when I had the vlog channel, but we just changed it over to Dream Driver's Legacy, you know, but I'm trying to get my message across to you guys, man, you know, pushing these videos out. You know, encouraging you to build your confidence, you feel me? It's so necessary to know that you are him, my brother. You a king, my sister, my queen, young lady, that woman, you are a queen. Know that you are her, bro. No matter who else say anything different, no matter who say anything different. That boyfriend of yours, you feel me? Your teacher, your family, your siblings, whatever the case, guys, that girlfriend of yours, you feel what I'm saying? Your wife, your aunt, your uncle, your family, no matter what, bro, your co-workers, your classmates, your friends, if they are aiming to tear you down, they don't need to be in your life. If they are aiming to tear you down, if they're not fanning your flame, when you say, I'm him, and you walking in confidence, bro, if they are not rooting for you, bro, if they're not cheering on you from the sidelines, then you need to reevaluate the people in your life. If they are not saying you are him, if they are not saying you are her, bro, because they know you doing it not from a cocky place. They know you doing it from a confident place, and they want you to win. The people around you should want you to win. They should be rooting for you. They should be rooting for you. If they not, you need to reevaluate. You need to reevaluate. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you who need to go. Only you know that. I know who had to go in my life. I know who had to get clipped from my life so that I could keep walking in my purpose, without the extra baggage and the anvil, you feel me? But only you know it for yourself. So I just came through with this video to encourage someone who may be lacking confidence, who may just need a boost of encouragement, who may just need a reminder because they don't get reminded of that every day, who may don't remind themselves of that or even know, that they're already him, or they're already her. I want to encourage you and let you know that you already him. You already got it. You just got to find it within.